Today I wanted to talk about music and consciousness, and how music and vibration can have such a profound and powerful effect upon our state of being, upon our state of consciousness, and can act as an incredibly powerful tool for spiritual upliftment. And I've chosen a Whispers from Eternity that helps reflect that beautiful reality. So I thought I'd start by reading the Whispers, and then just because it's so wonderful. And then I'll talk a little bit more about music and vibration and how we can penetrate beyond the veil of just outward melody and notes and musical structure and drink from the water of inspiration behind it. So this is Whispers from Eternity, number 193. Let my songs resound with the magic power of thy voice. I drew apart the gross veils of earthly music, O infinite musician, and heard thee playing through the sweet lilt of the violin, through the bright strumming of the harp, and I heard thy song through the whispered longings of my own mind. O magic musician, plucking gently on the hidden feeling strings of my heart, at last I beheld thy soft, warm light spreading like dawn over the awakening sky of my mind. Thou dearest of all singers, thy notes have awakened me from the slumber of ages. I now stand before thy altar, eager to offer thee my own melodies, inspired by thee. Isn't that a beautiful prayer? It's particularly poignant for me because of my musical training, and I think I learned a lot about emotional maturity through music. And so to see a lot of my own experience put to such beautiful poetic words by Yogananda thrills me. And that's one of the joys of this book, Whispers from Eternity. There's really something for everybody. If you are a musician, or if you are an artist of any capacity, or no matter your temperament, I almost guarantee, in fact, I would go out simply by my faith in this book, that there is truly something for everybody, that whatever makes your heart sing, metaphorically, Yogananda speaks to that at some point in this book, which was one of the reasons what I love it so dearly. But this one is low-hanging fruit for me, because music is the melody of the soul. Yogananda gave a beautiful quote when he said that love is the melody of the soul singing to God. Isn't that wonderful? The melody of the soul singing to God. And all of us have that divine melody within us that's playing, and that there's a beautiful piece of music that Swami Kriyananda wrote, one of my favorites, and it's called Life is a Quest for Joy. And its title pretty much says it all, that life is a quest for joy. And in that piece of music, the melody begins in a somewhat melancholic tone, that it's searching for happiness, it's searching for fulfillment, but can't quite seem to ever grasp it. And this is just my experience and my projection onto the piece. I'm not sure that he had this overtly in mind, but one of my favorite parts about the piece is the cello has the melody, and the cello's natural range imitates the natural speaking range of the human voice. And so there's a natural sympathetic resonance that happens between a cello and a human, that it feels like us because it's in the same range. And so the cello is the melody, and the cello is singing its soul. It's singing the melody of its soul, trying to find God. And then as the piece progresses, there's this back and forth that happens between the cello and the violin, where they will alternate who sings. And then as the piece progresses, they begin to sing together a duet. And it's so sweet that duet grows and matures and deepens and develops. And eventually, they dance together into that final note when they get to dissolve into infinity together. Then I just like to speculate, or I shouldn't even say speculate, I like to imagine when I'm playing this piece that violin part, because I play the cello, so naturally that's the part I play, And I like to imagine, just because it helps draw me deeper into the experience of the music, that that violin part is not just another instrument, but that the cello line that I'm playing is the melody of my own soul, searching for God. And that when that violin begins to play, that is the response of God being drawn through my sincerity. And that they dance closer and closer, more and more sweetly, the violin promising greater and greater vistas of expansion and love, until eventually they come together in these final call and response notes where the cello sings, the violin responds, and then at last they come together in this beautiful note that just fades off into infinity, as if to declare that we have at last found union with God. And it's just wonderful. It's such a joy to play. And it's such a joy to listen to. I would really encourage you, listen to Swami Kriyananda's music. Listen to music as a conscious spiritual tool, because it truly is. Vibration is one of the most powerful forces in the universe, Yogananda said. In fact, I believe he said it emphatically, that vibration is the most powerful force in the universe, because it affects us directly, without needing to go through our intellect, without needing to pass through any barriers, any gates of understanding. Vibration strikes us to the core. This is one of my favorite phenomenon of music, is that I can listen to music written by a German who spoke a different language from 300 years ago, and yet when I hear the opening chords of that rising melody, it thrills my heart. And similarly, I can listen to music from a completely alien culture to mine in a human sense, and yet that vibration reaches you so strongly, so palpably. And similarly too, even if you're not a musician or a classical musician, or even if you don't really like music, we've all experienced the power of vibration. Just think about it in the terms of the words that we use. How many times have we heard the words, be it in television or in idle conversation or when you were a child? How often have you heard those simple words, "I love you"? And yet it is that when those words are uttered with the vibration of deep and sincere love, those three so often used words that they've become, almost a trope, become so enriched and so meaningful and carry so much power. And that when someone really tells you that with depth and sincerity, it can stop you in your tracks to really receive that vibration of love. And so music, vibration, and our consciousness are very intimately connected. And if you choose to listen to downward pulling, heavy, materialistic, angry, depressive music, that's what it will drag your consciousness towards, like an anchor, making sure that it snags on every boulder, on every rock, on every crevice of materialism. But if you choose to consciously imbibe more uplifted music, then that music will act like a helium balloon and will raise you above the lower experiences of even your day-to-day life. And I had a very direct experience of this because I grew up, like I mentioned, as a classical musician, and therefore, I played Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star like everybody, and then after a decade, I was into playing some more beautiful pieces of music. And I don't know if it was maybe to contrast, but there I was practicing beautiful classical music, some of the most wonderful works for the cello ever composed, or at least to the best of my ability. And then in my private time, I started listening to more and more heavy, dark, aggressive, angry music. Call it puberty, call it whatever you want. I did. And it was interesting, there was this split that started happening. And I would listen to rock and roll, then it was heavy rock, hard rock, and then it slipped. Then I started getting into metal, heavy metal, and so on and so forth. And I'm not here to lay judgment against you if you like heavy metal, because I did like heavy metal. So I'm not saying that. In fact, actually, I bumped into someone here in the community, and she mentioned that her kids were musicians. And I said, oh, what do they play? She said, oh, they play guitar and the bass. And I said, oh, what genre do they play? And she said, heavy metal. And I said, oh, I used to love heavy metal. And she was so taken aback. It was very charming because, yes, I was human too. And we all have a past, and we're all moving in a certain direction. But what I'm getting at is there's a very specific reason I don't listen to that music anymore. And it is that I got to the point where I was actually helping lead the music ministry at Ananda Los Angeles. And so on Sundays, I was going in and I was singing beautiful, incredibly sattvic, uplifting, God-reminding music written by Swami Kriyananda and by Yogananda. And I was leading people and having an experience of the transformative power of music, which I firmly believed in. And then, for 6 days of the week until Sunday, I would be going to work. I was a personal trainer at the time and a stuntman, and I would be listening to some really intense heavy metal music. And, you know, I justified it to myself that, yes, I sort of was finding the really good stuff that, you know, was really musically excellent and, you know, just incredible musicians. But still, the music and the vibration was the same, very harsh, grating, powerful, but raw energy. And I finally realized, I'm embarrassed to say it took me so long, that, you know, I was a little bit out of integrity, because here I was telling everybody that they really ought to listen to uplifting music, and then 6 out of 7 days of the week I was listening to this really heavy stuff. And so I decided, as a measure of good faith, and because I like running experiments on myself in regards to my consciousness, I thought, let's try it. Let's try what Yogananda talks about. Let's try what Swami Kriyananda promises. Let's try running the experiment to discover for my own self, does the music I listen to affect my consciousness? And does the music I listen to affect the circumstances of my life? And so, cold turkey, I stopped listening to everything. I stopped listening to music for just, quote, pleasure. And all I began to do was listen to Swami Kriyananda chant 2 very powerful mantras, the Gayatri mantra and the Mahamrityunjaya mantra. These 2 mantras that we do every Sunday during the fire ceremony and the purification. And I found a recording of him, which you too can find, of him chanting each mantra for about 35 minutes. And I just listened to that on loop. In the car, at the gym, at the work, during my training, you know, during my off hours, I would just play it softly on the computer. And I did that for an entire month. That was my commitment to myself. And at first, it was really a discipline, because I missed those melodies. I missed the power, the raw energy, the excitement of the other music I used to listen to. But I stuck to my guns, and I just listened to the mantra. And more than just listening, like Yogananda talks about in this prayer, I tried to rend the veil that separated me from its underlying consciousness. Because mantras are not just a combination of syllables, they are a mystic key to a specific level of consciousness, to a ray of God's grace. And so I would chant these mantras, and I would consciously try to attune my heart to their vibration, trying to feel that that sound was not just around me, but that sound of the mantra was in me, moving through me. That Swami Kriyananda's voice was not just creating waves in the air around my ears, but that the sound of his voice was penetrating my heart, and that I could feel the sound waves of his voice and of his consciousness vibrating, rolling through my heart, through my brain. I would visualize the sound echoing through the chambers of my being. And I would try and go very deeply into it. And what was amazing was, at first, I didn't really notice much. At first, it was just a discipline not to listen to the other music that I really would have preferred to. And it was a little bit boring. But then after about a week, I started feeling happier. I started feeling lighter. I started feeling more free. And then after 2 weeks, I started feeling just more inspiration, more joy. A sense that my karmic baggage was getting lighter. And at the end of the month, I was so transformed. I really can't tell you how differently I felt. I felt so light inside. I felt that a darkness had been completely scrubbed out of my heart, and in its place a growing sense of freedom, of hope, of empowerment, and of the blessings of God's grace flowed into me. And my life really began to change in a very dramatic way from that point onwards. And that was actually the first drop of grace that soon became a downpour, that became a flood, that really changed my life. And it sparked a whole series of inspirations, like a spiritual renaissance in me. Was able to grow from that initial experience of just simply changing the vibration of the music I listened to and really drinking it deeply. And I'm saying this because my hope is that you too will realize this transformative power of vibration, of music, and its ability to uplift your consciousness. So my invitation to you this week would be perhaps to listen to sattvic, God-reminding, spiritualizing music, and perhaps to read this Whispers from Eternity. I think 193 is what I said it was. Yes, indeed, 193. Maybe say this prayer every day and sincerely try to pierce beyond the veil of outward melodies, to feel for the vibration behind every note. And if you do this and listen to Swami Kriyananda's music, or listen to Yogananda's chanting, or just simply listen to the mantra Om, which you can easily find, I think you'll discover that the veils of delusion, and therefore the veils of suffering that separate your heart from your own inner nature, will begin to just naturally fall away. It's the most beautiful thing, because vibration, when you're receptive to it, can penetrate into the very depth of your heart and transform you from the inside out. That it's not an external force. It's not like getting surgery or taking off a jacket. It's just your heart begins to change from the inside. And as you change, so your circumstances change. I believe it was Sister Gyanamata said beautifully that prayer doesn't change our circumstances. Prayer changes us, and then we change our circumstances. And so the same thing is with our music. Pay close attention to the quality and the consciousness of the music you listen to. What is the message it's conveying? That if we listen to a lot of pop music, the underlying sort of subliminal message, if you will, is telling you sensuality, the world, money, pleasure. These are the things that we all care about. And if we take it a little higher, they might go so far as to say love, but is the love that they're seeking in that music the deep love of soul to soul, seeking God love, or is it the love of human passion? Is it really more infatuation? We need to ask the honest question. Do you want more infatuation, or do you want more divine love in your life? And it may be too austere to simply cut all of the less sattvic music out of your life at first, but even if you listen to it consciously, as you would going to a theater or going to see a film, that you are consciously aware that what you are listening to is not you, but you are listening to it merely as like a scientific experiment in human entertainment. But in the essence of your own heart, you remain in that uplifted vibration. And then over time, that vibration can begin to transform you until, as Yogananda says, I drew apart the gross veils of earthly music, O infinite musician, and heard thee playing through the sweet lilt of the violin, through the bright strumming of the harp, and I heard thy song through the whispered longings of my own mind. O magic musician, plucking gently on the hidden feeling strings of my heart, at last I beheld thy soft, warm light spreading like dawn over the awakening sky of my mind. Thou dearest of all singers, thy notes have awakened me from the slumber of ages. I now stand before thy altar, eager to offer thee my own melodies inspired by thee. And these last sentences are so sweet as well. I now stand before thy altar, eager to offer thee my own melodies, inspired by thee. And Swami Kriyananda promises this very thing. He says that if you listen to his music, if you listen to that music which was given to him by the superconsciousness, by God, that you will not become just a mere carbon copy of him. But Kriyananda said if you listen to his music, it would inspire you to be able to create music from your own point of origin, to be able to create from the divine within you. And so if you choose your music well, if you choose to attune yourself to the right vibration, it will reveal to you your own inner higher self. And it will inspire with you your own source of creativity, your own source of joy. And that you can then offer at the feet of the divine. And that's such a beautiful experience. All of us have a spark of creative genius within us. Our potential for creativity is the same as Beethoven, is the same as Einstein, is the same as Swami Kriyananda. We just need to free it. We just need to find it once again. And by conscious absorption of the right vibrations of music, we can discover just that. So friends, I hope you have a wonderful week, and I hope you enjoy your music and hear the melody of divine love singing through every voice and through every circumstance. God bless you. Fill my heart with music, I dance through life with thee. I sing your song and sorrow's gone, in joy I live ever free. You fill my heart with music, I dance through life with thee. I sing your song and sorrow's gone, in joy I live ever free. Fill my heart with music, I dance through life with thee. I sing your song and sorrow's gone, in joy I live ever free. You fill my heart with music, I dance through life with thee. I sing your song and sorrow's gone, in joy I live ever free. You fill my heart with music, I dance through life with thee. I sing your song and sorrow's gone, in joy I live ever free. You fill my heart with music, I dance through life with thee. I sing your song and sorrow's gone, in joy I live ever free. You fill my heart with music, I dance through life with thee. I sing your song and sorrow's gone, in joy I live ever free. You fill my heart with music, I dance through life with thee. I sing your song and sorrow's gone, in joy I live ever free. You fill my heart with music, I dance through life with thee. I sing your song and sorrow's gone, in joy I live ever free. You fill my heart with music, I dance through life with thee. I sing your song and sorrow's gone, in joy I live ever free. You fill my heart with music, I dance through life with thee. I sing your your song, and sorrows gone, in joy I live ever free. You fill my heart with music, I dance through life with thee. I sing your song, and sorrows gone, in joy I live ever free. You fill my heart with music, I dance through life with thee. I sing your song, and sorrows gone, in joy I live ever free. You fill my heart with music, I dance through life with thee. I sing your song, and sorrows gone, in joy I live ever free. You fill my heart with music, I dance through life with thee. I sing your song, and sorrows gone, in joy I live ever free. You fill my heart with music, I dance through life with thee. I sing your song, and sorrows gone, in joy I live ever free. I sing your song, and sorrows gone, in joy I live ever free. I sing your song, and sorrows gone, in